Let's go. Let's go.
Well, good evening, District 40 Toastmasters and friends. Welcome to our June podcast episode. My name is Althea Latang. With me, I have Lamar King and Angela Norman, and we are your podcast team. I know we're missing one. Sydney has a prior engagement, will be joining us shortly. So we'll go ahead and kick things off. You guys, it's been more than a month since I've seen your beautiful faces. How have you been?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nothing changes around here except the heat. So,
Yeah. Literally, the summer solstice was this past weekend, and like summer came in.
Mm, Lazy.
Came in with
It
full
didn't waste no
force.
time. Just came skip straight to August.
For sure. So hopefully everyone's staying cool and staying hydrated.
But I will tell you this out there, June 20th, the longest day of the year. I don't know if you all had a chance to see that sunset. I was out in the Amish country, and I mean, it was absolutely, it stayed up until about 9:30, and
Mhm.
just beautiful to see how the sun was setting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. I wish I got an opportunity to do something fun that particular day, but I had other things going on. But before we get into just our catch up, I just want to take an opportunity to read to everyone our podcast mission statement. We start every episode by just reminding everyone why we're here. So, our mission statement as your D40 podcast is to educate and to entertain our listeners and viewers by providing a positive and supportive experience to help our listeners and viewers develop stronger communication and leadership skills. I'm going to turn things over to Angela to introduce our word of the day. Over to you, Angela. What's our word of the day?
our word of the day in honor of the great program quality director this year, Tracy Baker, is Tracy.
All right, Tracy.
Now, actually, I think Lamar, you have an official definition of the
Uh,
word Tracy, though, that is dead on.
Well, Angela, I did a short Google search here for Tracy. This isn't, without going into detail or depth. But what I came up with, Angela, was warlike,
Ooh.
fighter, higher, powerful, and superior.
Oh,
So, when I think of DTM Tracy Baker, he definitely is very befitting of these titles in terms of his approach and his demeanor and his character, how he is. So, Angela, I think that's a good word of the day.
Yeah,
interesting.
he embodies that definitely.
Nice.
So,
I think he would appreciate the shout out. So, word of the day today is Tracy. Yes. Well, friends, listen, we are in the final month of our program year, and it's really hard to believe that we have just zoomed past the 2024-2025 program year. So I just want to take the opportunity to have our last episode just be the podcast team so we can talk about our year on the pod team and what has been some experiences that you've enjoyed, what are some things that you've learned, and, giving that you've had this experience on the podcast, what words of advice would you offer to those who may be considering being a part of our podcast team in the future? So, Angela, let's talk about it. What's been your experience serving on the podcast team?
But I think when I started, I really just wanted to add some value and really selfishly, learn from those that are in other actual higher up kind of roles than me and just get to know how everything works together and maybe some of the obstacles they've overcame and and you know whatever might drive them. So as I was going through, there was a lot of kind of similar themes from our different episodes. I found educate, elevate, and inspire. It's definitely done that. Uh, our part of our thing, which is to educate and entertain, is part of our mission statement.
Yeah.
Done. We're so entertaining.
Yes, we are.
Getting out of our comfort zone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Be
Absolutely.
a shining star. Just all these things that I personally I need in my life and reminders of. I just think I've gotten them out of being a part of this podcast and had so many interesting conversations and connections and hopefully grown in the process. And I just loved being a part of it. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I will say that I've observed a lot of growth from you, Angela, on being a part of this team. I remember meeting you at I think it was 2024 district conference where were we?
Where
Was it
were
Cincinnati?
It's Ohio somewhere.
In Dayton.
Was it
Maybe.
in Dayton? Okay. And that was my first time meeting you, and this was your first time attending a conference.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of firsts, right? And I remembered
Yeah.
we hung out and you just had such great energy. And I thought, like, man, like this would be a good opportunity for you to just, like you said, step outside your comfort zone. You got to do a lot of firsts in that year. So there was a little bit of apprehension, just the idea of being on camera, not really sure what to expect. But I commend you for challenging yourself to do something new. And you end up liking the experience. At least that's my perception. So I'm glad that you
Yeah.
said yes to this opportunity. And I'm equally excited that you decided to give it another try for one more year.
Yeah.
So you're staying on board for another program year with me on the pod. So I'm really excited to continue growing with you in this space. So I just wanted to openly commend you for saying yes and for trusting yourself. And like, it doesn't have to be perfect. We've had
Mm.
technology issues. That's just how things are. But we learn and we adapt and we laugh our way through it and we have fun. So I appreciate you being a great partner in this space with Lamar and Sydney. And I just look forward to seeing more growth from you in this. So I just want to say that to you publicly.
Thank you. And I've learned so much from all of you guys. So I'm going to miss those of you that don't stick around.
Yeah. What about you, Lamar? What's
Well,
your
I
experience?
am not sticking around. I
Yes,
am
he's
going
not.
to yield
He's
my
breaking up with us,
space
you guys.
to someone who will come in. I know who would be amazing at working with this awesome team. I mean, it has truly been wonderful working with you all in this space for this past year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Angela, I second that, and I know you were talking about leadership and some of the things that you were looking to gain, and just seeing how you have progressed, and it's fun because I'm learning from your humility. That's one of the things that I really appreciate most about you, Angela, is your humility. And it has really encouraged me in terms of how I lead. So that has been fun. And for me, it's like, out there, you get a chance to learn from each other's experiences. And out there, you've been doing a wonderful job of, leading. And, I love what you're saying about mess up with technology and we figure it out. And I know Sydney, he has different ways of communicating that's always very pointed in terms of very timely messages that he shares. So it has been, this has been a great team that I'm truly going to miss in terms of this coming year. But I know I'll be watching and seeing how you all are doing and how you all are going to do even greater things in what we've been able to accomplish this year. You know, what came to mind for me out there is a quote by John Maxwell, and it goes, I had to find myself, to know myself, to be myself, to improve myself, to get over myself, to give myself. So when I think about if I'm giving myself to someone, I have to first be able to discover more about who I am. And for me, this podcast has been an opportunity where I can journey in figuring those kinds of things out. What is my communication style? How do I want to engage with being my authentic self and as well as being a team player? So it definitely has been very fulfilling for me to be able to have those needs met in terms of understanding who I am, how I communicate to the world. So it's been fun from that standpoint to now, because I've done podcasts before out there, but never in this type of setting. So I
Right.
knew it was going to be a good challenge in terms of how that would play out. But I'm truly grateful for this opportunity. So it's been great. What
That's
about for
awesome.
you? What about for you in terms of what you learned over this course of the year? I know you've done this before, so you're not new to this. You're true to this.
For
But what
sure.
what has that been for you?
For me, and before I even go into that, Lamar, I want to thank you for also saying yes as well. I remembered my first interactions with you was when I served as a division director in Division H, and I believe you were at the time your club's
I think I was
president.
at yeah, I think I was at a conference, wasn't I?
I know so that was during COVID, so we weren't
Okay.
quite in person yet. But I remembered coming to visit your club virtually, and you've just always had this soft but strong disposition about yourself. And I'm like, this guy is going to go far.
Mm.
He's going to go far. He's going to be a mover and shaker in District 40. And you are doing those things. You're serving this year as a division director. And in your first year as being a division director, you've also taken on being a co-host at the podcast. So balancing those two roles, it takes a lot of skill and like you said, knowing yourself, right? Because you want to be able to give, but you have to first know who you are, what you're capable of, and in those areas where you're kind of falling short, what do I need to do to strengthen those areas, right? And you've done that. You've just approached this opportunity with laser focus. I enjoy, hearing your contributions. I enjoy just the way how you approach interviewing on the pod. You're a bit of a storyteller, and I really enjoy
Mm.
stories. And you have a way of, as you are introducing a thought or introducing a question, kind of tying it into an experience you may have or bringing clarity. So I've appreciated seeing you grow in that space, and I'm grateful for having you, being a part of our team. But as far as, for myself, what I've learned, this is now my third year on the podcast. And what I've learned is I don't know everything. And I will never know everything. But what I do enjoy and what I do love is having an opportunity to connect with other members within District 40. And the pod does that for me. It gives us an opportunity to connect with those in our district that are doing great things. I get to learn from you all. I get to learn a little bit more about Sydney and Angela and Lamar, and it makes me feel more connected. So when we do see each other in person, it's like I just know who you are because we spent a lot of time doing this work together. It's taught me to be more confident in just different realms of communication, not just in a club meeting or via email or in written communication, but having the ability to be on camera and be authentically who I am, I think is important for other members to see that. So I've enjoyed that ride. I believe in what we're doing as a podcast. We're still growing. We're still figuring out what's going to work best, what's going to be the best recipe for this pod. And I just love the fact that you guys bring your own distinct and unique flavor to it. So I'm grateful for that experience.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that out there, and I appreciate your words that you shared about me as well. And one of the things that I made mention about it a little bit earlier is flexibility.
Mhm.
I've seen how inflexible because I know how it can be when you're in that space of the leading and you also connecting to YouTube world and digitally and all those kinds of things. And I've seen you just become more flexible
Yeah.
and flow more with what we're doing in the moment, which is a skill to, I feel as we as Toastmasters have the opportunity to continue, like you said, keep going in,
Yeah.
going on the journey, and recognizing that in life itself, things aren't going to always go as we plan for
Mhm.
it to go.
Mhm.
You can have everything lined up, A, B, C, one, two, three, but
Yeah.
then as soon as you go to hit play or record, and we may go from A to Z,
Yes.
or from two to four, things that we didn't even take into consideration. But I've seen you really become more comfortable in that space, which is truly commendable as
Yeah.
well.
I'll tell you what, in our first year, Johnny was on the podcast with me, Johnny Randolph. Shout out to Johnny Randolph.
What up, Johnny?
He is a whiz. Like he's just really skilled when it comes to technology. Johnny has his own podcast outside of the District 41. So we really wanted to kind of hone in and leverage his experience in that. So when that first year, he was running all the technology. I was just showing up as a pretty face. But then, he decided to move on. And I believe he went into serving as our public relations manager. So he
Mm-hmm.
had to shift his focus over that way. And now all of a sudden, I had to learn how to manage the technology for the pod. So yeah, there's been a couple of times where I thought that I was playing the intro and I wasn't, or there was like background noise, and you just try to work through it, right? And I always say that Toastmasters is the best place to fail your
Mm,
way to success. And y'all watch me do it
indeed.
every episode. There's always something that goes awry. But you know what? We have fun. It's
That's
technology.
the
It is
part
what it
about it.
is. And we just kind of keep the ball rolling and we try to recover as quickly as we can and just keep moving forward. And that's really what our Toastmasters experience is all about. Think about when you're giving a speech and no one knows what the content of your speech is. So you're up there, you're giving your speech, you blank out. You can start ad-libbing, making up stuff off the top of your head, and I would have no idea that this wasn't a part of your speech unless you told me. Unless you told me. So maybe a lesson learned for me is not to always tell the audience that I'm making a mistake or something's not working. Just kind of roll with it, right? Just kind of roll.
So we won't, like you said, we won't even know.
Yeah, I meant to do that. There was supposed to be an echo in the background, so it's all good.
Keep
That
it going.
came with the presentation.
Yes. What was that, Angela?
I was like, you just keep the echo going after it's
Keep
done.
it going. It'll go away eventually. It'll go away eventually. Well, a lot has happened since the last time we've met as a podcast. I want to take an opportunity just to talk about the spring conference that happened this year in Lexington, Kentucky. Angela, we missed you this year, but it was
I
a great,
know.
it was a great conference. This is my third conference as a member. And I really enjoy seeing members in person. It's literally like a family reunion.
Truly,
Can
indeed.
I ask, I wrote a question down. How did the complete a level challenge go?
Oh, Lamar, were you able to attend that session?
I did
Anybody?
attend a, a little bit. I did attend some. I
Yeah.
believe it went well. I know that it wasn't as well attended. It is challenging when you have a main speaker who's speaking in a main auditorium and you're having a speaker challenge happening at the same time.
Oh,
So that could be a really good challenge with the audience in terms of them coming to sort of kind of you're competing with that main speaker.
Yeah.
So, but for what I sat in on and what I heard though, Angela, I thought it went well.
yeah, I was just curious about that.
Yeah.
Sounded like a good
It's a great
opportunity.
idea.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's probably going to stay around.
Hmm.
Yes. Again, another opportunity for folks to be able to get some feedback from people outside their club, and then also, complete some of those educational goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is important. Angela, one of the things I really liked was, and Althea was there too. There was a improv
Oh yeah.
session.
Oh, no.
Yes. Shout out to
Oh
Krista
man, thank
That
you
Huckabee.
for
was
that
so
shout out.
cool.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that
Session.
was so fun. I
Yeah.
tell you, shout out Gene Bailey, man.
Oh,
And Angela, there was some funny stuff that was happening in this improv ordeal. And I felt like it was a great way for people just to loosen up.
Yeah.
And we were singing,
yeah.
dancing,
Yeah.
just kind of improving. And something happened where somebody was improv, and Gene and I got to just laughing and enjoying each other's company, man. And it was just a phenomenal time. I'm hoping that they truly keep that session around, because I
Oh,
feel
that'd
like
be
that's a
awesome.
great way for people to get to meet each other and just sort of kind of break the ice of whatever anxieties you may have when you show up. So I felt like I just had so much fun during that session.
I agree.
And out there, you got a chance to see some hidden talent too.
I
Some
know.
folks can really sing.
Can really sing. You'd be
Yeah,
surprised. Yeah. I
I would
love
have been really trying to sing, and you would have loved it. Yeah.
it. It was a lot of fun. We had our podcast team was on site. We did
mm,
a couple live streams Friday evening, Saturday afternoon. So that was great getting folks to stop by the pod and share, how they're enjoying the conference weekend. So that was great. We elected our new leaders. So again, congratulations to our incoming district director, Tracy Baker, our program quality director, Renee Mitchell, and our club growth director, Sue Schindler. So those individuals will be serving as our top officers for our district. So we got the opportunity to see the election happen and hear from our outgoing district director, Wendy Simmons, as she ushers in Tracy into his role for the next program year. So that was
yeah.
great to see that.
Contest. I mean, the contest
Let's
was.
talk
I
about it.
mean, I mean, knockout. I mean, the table topics,
Mhm.
Angela. I mean, setup
I haven't seen
was
one besides the club and area level we did. Tell me, like, what stood out to you? Like, something that stood out to you about the table topics one.
the table topics one. I mean, it was just a great opportunity to really be able to randomly speak, and folks stood up
What
to
was
the
the
challenge.
question?
I don't remember what the question was,
Oh.
Angela. Come on.
Yeah, don't remember.
I don't remember the question.
Yeah.
It was. I
Or
could.
topic.
I think it was something along the lines of like a hard moment in your life,
Oh, okay.
something along the lines of that.
Mm,
So it's like you really had to go to a deep place hearing that question like quickly.
yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
people showed up, and I don't know, who won? I
Oh,
forget
Don
who.
Don Schulte won that.
Yes, that's who won. Yes, that's who won. Yeah,
Shout out to Don Schulte.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah, so I agree with you. I felt like this year, both the international speech contestants as well as the table topics contestants pulled at the heartstrings a little bit. Like I was really emotional during a couple of those international speeches.
for sure.
Yeah, a lot of great storytelling
The
within our
content
district.
phenomenal,
Yeah, all of the contestants did an amazing job. That was a very difficult choice for the judges, but I want to give a shout out to Taylor Candela. He won. He
Yep,
took the prize
he's
again
the
this year.
winner.
Congratulations to Taylor on that. But yeah, it
And
was
by the way, Don and Taylor are both Division B, and
Wait a
and
minute.
and, and, and where their clubs are. So let's go. Who? Yeah,
Listen, shout out to Division
I'll
C because
give
we
in.
second place, baby. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Shout out again to Johnny Randolph for taking home second place in the international
Absolutely.
speech contest.
Phenomenal job, Johnny.
Yep, indeed. But it was great.
Bad news, buddy.
Bad news, but that's right. That's his intrusive thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was overall just a great experience, right? So you can attend educational sessions. There's just so much to do. There was even, Angela, bourbon tasting.
Oh, well, I am from Kentucky. Dang it. I can't believe I missed all this stuff. I would
Yeah.
have been hobbling around
Oh
like a
no.
weirdo. They would have just thought I was tasting too much bourbon.
Oh my
So,
gosh. Yeah, no,
yeah.
we had someone from, I think it was Bourbon, Buffalo Trace, a representative from Buffalo
Oh,
Trace
yeah.
came and did a presentation. So we got some lovely samples of bourbon at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, that's how you win a speech contest.
Right? It was great. So just like having that unique experience, and like Lamar
Yeah.
mentioned, the improv was so much fun. I'm not an improv kind of person, and literally I got pulled into the room by Gene Bailey. Gene
You
Bailey pulled
did.
me in.
He did pull you in there.
And immediately I was thrown into a
Yeah.
group to
Thrown
improv,
right into the
like
fire.
being a band or something. It was fun. It was really
That's
fun.
Oh,
awesome.
so Angela, no worries on the conference because our next one,
Uh-huh.
ready for this, when it is coming up, it's going to be May 1st through the 3rd, 2026. And the theme is the evolution of your leadership.
Love it.
It's going to be at the Cherry Valley Hotel in Newark, Ohio. So closer to the parts of Columbus, but still not too far from the Cincinnati area.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a grand time as well. So I'm looking forward
Agree.
to all the things that's going to happen from the conference and, of course, what's going to happen this coming year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, we're definitely getting there. I got motivation now. I motivate my club to motivate our our corporate
Mhm.
to sponsor so that I can
Mm,
get me one of them free spots.
Love
So
it. Love
got a
it.
lot of motivation.
Yeah, that's good stuff. We're looking forward to it. Should be a great time.
So one of the interviews I was just really uh reminiscent about was having Dr. Kareem Ellis on.
Mhm.
What what an inspiring everything he says. You could say a two-word question
Oh, there we go. We got the
and
book, GPS My Success. Shout out to
yep,
Dr.
GPS
Kareem.
my success.
do you
Awesome.
have a life-size cutout of him? That's what
Oh,
it
that
looked
I think
like with the
was it
background.
wait, I thought it was his book. Is it a cutout?
It's his
No, it
book,
was the book. It
Okay.
but
was
it
just the
looked
way
like
the
a cutout.
background.
Okay. I was like, oh wait, you really have a cutout. That's funny. It's his book. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, he is inspiration. He
Man,
also
fire, man. He
phenomenal
killed it. Killed it.
keynote. It was so inspiring. Oh, there's so many things that can be said about Dr. Kareem, but his session during the conference, I was only able to catch
Oh,
the
so
Saturday session because I had to leave Sunday morning, but the Saturday session was phenomenal.
Yeah, he killed it. Both sessions. Everything, Angela, that he gave us. I don't know where you were going, with what you want to share, but in the interview he gave
I was
us,
just talking
he
about
gave us he
Yeah.
gave
our
us that
interview with him.
times 10. I mean, he
Yeah.
he really he brought it. Yeah, it was a fun experience. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. So what are you gonna share about this interview? I'm sorry.
No, I was just kind of naming it as a highlight of the year. That was kind of one of my favorite people to talk to or
Yeah.
listen to during our year together. So he
Yeah.
just had so many nuggets of wisdom. Oh, I wrote down vision, strategy, and mentorship.
Mhm.
That he highlighted that throughout his interview with us, and that was just pretty powerful. All his examples.
I
Yeah, I
agree.
second that.
I agree with you. We had some pretty amazing interviews during our time. We've interviewed, the top three leaders within our district, and we've also highlighted other folks like the conference committee was on Um, there's a lot of people doing a lot of important work within District 40. And I just love that we have this platform to be able to just share with folks what's happening and who are the movers and shakers. So, to all of our guests that we've had this year, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast journey.
Yeah, we
It's
appreciate
been
you.
it's been amazing to share your story on this platform, and we look forward to highlighting more leaders within District 40 as the podcast continues into year 4. Can't believe it, year 4.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, this is the fourth year?
We're going
Yeah,
into year
fourth
4.
year. Okay.
We're going into year, I cannot believe it. We're going into year 4. So, what's next for Lamar? So, you're breaking up with us after the podcast. You're
Yeah,
moving on to greater
cutting y'all
things in
loose.
District 40. Yeah. So, tell us about it. Can you share with us what's next for you?
Yeah, well, out there, we were talking a little bit beforehand before we
Yeah.
came on today, and you talked about me being vision director. So I had an awesome time serving in the illustrious Division B. Definitely, before I go and share what I'm about to do, I want to give a shout out to my team, my area directors, who did a
Wow.
phenomenal job of holding down Division. Temporarily, we had Jung Jin who came on to serve and help us out in that role. We had Janine, Colleen, Joseph, and Scott. So they just did a wonderful job with meeting the needs of the clubs, which I'm just super grateful for as I took on this role and as the first time, Angela. And this is the first time for everything.
Mhm.
So first time being on the podcast, first time being division director. But you know what, like you said out there, hey, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm looking forward to in this next season of my life
Yeah.
is like you said, you don't need to know or have all the answers.
You just got to
You
know who to
know,
ask.
that part. And not be afraid to jump in and figure it out while
Yeah.
you're doing it. So, for me, I'm taking on a new role within my club, City of Columbus. Shout out. I
Nice.
am going to be the treasurer this year out there.
Awesome. That's great.
So, yeah, first time, I was telling Angela, first time me taking on this role. So it should be fun. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what creativity I can bring to the role. We've had previous awesome treasurers that's been a part of our club. So I'm looking to follow in their footsteps and the things that they've set in terms of the blueprint. And then also just figuring out how we can expand it and grow. But it's not just jumping in trying to do all these kinds of things. I told you all, it's just looking to do less, do more with less. Okay,
Right.
is
Right.
definitely what I'm looking forward to this coming year. So another thing I want to say too out there before
Mhm.
learn more about what y'all got going on
Yeah.
this coming year, in
Yeah.
addition to being on the podcast, is I had the distinct honor of being a distinguished Toastmaster
Hey, let's
member and being
go.
recognized at the conference.
Yes.
So I was in that number with
Yes.
Tracy,
Uh-huh. Yes. Congrats.
and and I know Renee was another, and
Mhm.
there Renee Mitchell, shout out, and there were
Hey, Sue
others.
also did. I think Sue got her DTM as well.
Sue got her DTM, Sue Schindler,
Yeah.
and there were others who also were recognized there at the conference. So I was grateful to be in that number to have that opportunity. So now it's taking a step back from leadership in terms of in the district level and working more so on the club level, with being a treasurer and as well as working in my business, the marketing consulting, and
Gotcha.
just figuring out ways of how I can support foster caregivers who are working with young people from the foster care system
Yeah.
and recognize that this is a huge need. So, how do we use all these different resources to come together to support them? So, yeah, would love to know, Angela, what you got going on in your world there in Cincy, as you're looking forward to, as we come to the end of this week, is the end of our Toastmasters year.
It
So,
is.
what does that look like for you in terms of next year?
Yeah, like a couple of my mentors in my club are retiring on me.
Oh,
So they're kind of I think pushing me out of the nest is what they're trying to do by retiring. So I am going to be our club's president at Toast to Broadway for
Yeah.
this year.
Nice.
And I have the distinct pleasure of having some really great people around me to support me, even though my mentors are abandoning me by retiring from their careers. But I have area director Deshaun Ramey. He's going to be my secretary, and my past president, Raymond Woods. He's great. And then I have a whole great group of officers that have so much experience. So I feel really supported. And then, of course, I have this going on. I'm excited about that. Just continuing to meet new people and being pushed by Tracy like everybody else. And uh but no, just as I went through our whole year, it was his name came up in every episode in a good way. In a good way, Tracy. Don't take it the wrong way. But
Hopefully he's listening. Shout out Tracy.
yeah, that's everybody needs. And it is nice for when you say yes to something, but you're never going to say yes to something if you aren't asked something. So I appreciate the people that ask and take that leap just as much as the people that take the leap to say yes. So
I love
I
that
appreciate you
perspective.
guys.
Yes. I mean, of course, not only saying yes, but asking people. How about that? I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you for
I mean,
sharing.
even if you don't say yes, it makes you feel it gives you a little confidence boost like, hey, somebody thinks I'm capable of this.
Absolutely.
Maybe I am. And
Yeah.
then next year, maybe I have a little bit more confidence, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I appreciate
I
that.
love that. I think about what you're saying is as a planting seed,
Mhm.
definitely, yeah.
and you just never know how that seed may germinate. How it may, the environment it may be in that it needs to grow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it may be a no now for that person, but that's not to say what 2 years, next month, or
I appreciate
whatever look like. So that's a really great perspective. I agree.
it.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah.
that's all I got going on, just looking to learn from people, learn more about technology and leadership and speaking more clearly and inspiring people through that.
I love that. I love that.
So what about you?
Well, for me, I will be serving another time as our Vice President of Education for the Reynoldsburg Toastmasters Club. Shout out Reynoldsburg. I really truly enjoy the VPE role. I will say, though, my club officer friends were pushing me in a different direction, wanting me to get outside of my comfort zone. And I hear them. I just want I just want to serve as VPE one more year. It's kind of one of those things where like you get into the role and then you kind of start getting into your footing and things are kind of moving along at a great pace and you're feeling successful and then the year's over. Like I don't
Yeah.
want
Right.
to transition away from it. I want to kind of give it another go and just kind of continue that momentum. So I'm looking forward to helping our club become President's Distinguished again. It's not officially in the DCP yet, but we're President's Distinguished this year.
Hey,
To Reynoldsburg Toastmasters. We worked so
congratulations.
hard to get there. Um, but yeah, just looking forward to just doing that role again and just, helping my club and the members within the club attain their level of success. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm sure someone on the top three is going to try to pull me in to help with something behind the scenes. We'll see what happens, but I don't have anything officially on the books yet as far as serving in an official capacity. But whatever I can do to help move our district forward, I'm always
Yeah.
down to assist in that capacity. And of course, carrying on with the podcast for another year. Looking forward to continuing this journey with Angela and our new co-hosts, which we'll be announcing soon who those individuals are. But I'm just looking forward to that. So.
Yeah, as the listening audience, as you all are listening, you're hearing all these different thoughts around getting involved and whatnot. But definitely, if you heard anything around some encouragement, is one, you don't have to have all the answers. And and two, like Angela was just sharing, that you have a team that's going to support you. So, would you agree out there that that's within any role that you take on within Toastmasters?
Yeah.
If you go into the grocery store to buy food for a Toastmasters Leadership Institute, if you are taking on any kind of role that people are willing to step up and help you, support you
Yep.
on that journey. So, definitely want you all to know we need more leaders. We
Yes.
can't have enough.
Yeah.
There's so many different opportunities. I know right now in Division B, there are two area directors that are needed for Area 21 and Area 23.
Mm.
And there's also other opportunities to find out about leadership throughout the district.
Yeah.
Sure, within your specific clubs. You see the same people serving in the same roles over and over and over again. Angela, I'm gonna tell you the truth. When I used to see the people in my club serving as Toastmasters or serving in roles, I felt in my mind that it was only for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That maybe that was just for a select group of people
Mm.
Yeah.
who can play in that role. And I really had to break away like, no, hold on, no, this is for everyone.
Yeah.
And what I learned is that you don't really grow until you step into it.
Mhm.
You don't really learn how to apply the things that you're learning until you actually are doing it. And
Yes.
that's what I feel, with all the opportunities that Toastmasters provide, is the opportunity to do it, otherwise known as practice. So
Mhm.
that's what I really have enjoyed most about even being here with you all,
Yeah.
is practicing my communication skills, because we're always talking, right? We're talking to family, we're talking to friends, we're always engaging in that kind of way. And you know what? We have more value added to us as we're practicing the skill, and at the same time we can add that value to other people. And you know what? We become more valuable. So then we're the people that they want to give a raise to, because you've added more value to yourself. So, we're the people
Yeah.
that, family engagement, friends engagement, all those kinds of things, really, it works hand in hand. But it doesn't if you're not jumping into it. So that's the encouragement, is to find a role, no matter how small it is,
Yeah.
and do it.
That's so true. I appreciate you saying that as well. Well, before we head out and close out our episode for this program year, I want to take the opportunity to just share a couple of things that are happening within our district as we are closing out one program year and heading into another. So, for those of you interested, there are some opportunities for some club officer trainings that are coming up. Actually, there's one this coming weekend. It's a virtual training. On Saturday, June 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. This one is a virtual training on Zoom, and the registration information can be found on the District 40 Toastmasters website. There's a couple other offers of trainings to consider this summer here in the Columbus area. On Saturday, July 12th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. There's going to be a club officer training. That one's in person only here in the Columbus area at the Scott's Miracle Grow in Marysville, Ohio. Next session will be on Saturday, July 19th at the Stillwater Church in Dayton, Ohio. That one's also from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then we have August 2nd. This session will be at the Walnut Hills Branch Library in Cincinnati. This one is also a club officer training from 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. This one's in person. And the last one rounding out the summer sessions for club officer training will be on August the 9th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This one will be at the Scott County Public Library in Georgetown, Kentucky. So all of this information will be available on the District 40 website. So please pretty please check that out. If any of those dates work with your schedule, please feel free to sign up for those sessions. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that we are accepting, when I say we, the district is accepting nominations for the 2024-2025 Toastmaster of the Year Award. So you can nominate someone to receive that award. Information about how to submit your vote is also on the D40 website. Would like to let you know that nominations are closing on June 30th. So if there's any folks that have done an exceptional job this year and you want to recognize them as the Toastmaster of the Year or recommend them, excuse me, as Toastmaster of the Year, please feel free to submit your nomination. So again, this award is open to members who have embodied the Toastmasters promise. They excel in communication and leadership. They actively promote Toastmasters inside and outside the club, and they empower others through feedback and through support. So those things, Angela, you talked about your mentors retiring at your workplace. They're just kind of clearing the way for you to now spread your wings and fly, or to maybe welcome in opportunities for you to be mentored and supported by other individuals. So it's not a loss, my friend, it's a gain. But just wanted to share that information with you all. So before we close out, any final thoughts from you, Angela or Lamar?
Just thank you for the opportunity, and thanks for bringing in all these guests and putting together these co-hosts. I just think I learn, it's like I said, every time I say selfishly, I learn so much from having these conversations and networking. So thank you so much for putting it together.
Thank you for saying yes. What about you,
Yeah,
Lamar?
I second that. Thank you. It's been a huge honor to serve in this capacity alongside you all to support our district.
Yeah.
Have folks from all over, and so we're able to be maybe in folks' ear while they're driving,
Yeah.
folks in their living room, wherever they may be. To have this opportunity is huge. To be able to share the good things that is happening within our district. So definitely want you to know that when I think about when I said yes to this, I was shared by Scott Garber. So
Okay.
shout out Scott Garber out there who said, "Hey, Lamar, how do you feel about being on a podcast?" And I really wasn't all excited like that initially, but then I thought again, hey, don't you want to work on your speaking? Don't you want to work on communicating? Don't you want to get better? And it's like, yeah, I do. Well, then do this. So I really do appreciate the opportunity out there to the new team. I know Johnny is working hard behind the scene and obviously working in meeting Sydney. Another cool thing that I'll share right quick is Sydney and I were roommates for the conference.
Love
But
that.
that opportunity came about because of our relationship that we built here. So for me, I'm taking away being a better person in building relationships and just
Yes.
really continue to grow in that way. So with that, yeah, it's been great. What about you out there? What do you think? What's coming up for you?
Well, yeah, I feel like we've said all the things we needed to
I know,
say.
right?
But I will say this, because Sydney wasn't able to join us for this last episode, and I'm bummed that he wasn't able to join. He had a conflict. But Sydney, it's been a pleasure working with you on
Yeah,
this.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He has such a big heart, and he's such a kind person, and I truly loved us co-hosting the pod at the conference in May. Sydney made me laugh.
You guys look like you had so much
We
fun.
did. We did. He is such a sweetheart, and I really enjoyed just getting to know him in this capacity, and just him also saying yes and stepping outside of his comfort zone. So shout out to Sydney Osborne, the last part of our team for this program year. And it was great working with you, Sydney. I'm looking forward to seeing you doing great things within District 40 as well. But yeah, ditto everything you guys said.
That
Ditto
means we're
everything.
bunking together next year, Althea.
What's
Okay.
that?
That's what that means. We're bunking together next year.
That's
The
it.
conference.
I'm game. I'm totally open to that. So let's do it.
Maximize the experience, right?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Well, friends, thank you guys so much, District 40 and friends, for tuning in on this podcast episode. We bid you farewell for this program year, and we'll see you on the next episode in July. Have